Hey friends, how are you? JJ Cannon with the Y Experience, and I am so excited to be back on live with y'all. You know, it's been a minute, and like probably many of y'all, I've been out with my family this summer just having an excellent time creating memories, filing them away in that memory bank, something that we'll cherish forever and something that I really hope that my children and family and wife cherish forever. For those that don't know, I'm JJ Cannon, CEO of Digital Life for 20 years. Oh my gosh, 20 years goes by in a blink. You know, something else about me is that I co-host another show called The Digital Ramble with my good friend Chris Gamble. We do that once a week, and we talk about smart home technology. If that's something you're challenged with, take a look, like, subscribe, you know, all that other kind of good stuff. And, you know, the other thing about me that you need to know is that I got a degree. I think I might be an expert in this one, where I've been knocked down and somehow I figure out how to get back up all the time. I don't let it keep me down, and that's what I encourage y'all to do as well. So today, you know, I have a fantastic friend that came in, and she is a mom. She's also an established author, a speaker, and she's also director at a children's village over at Westview. And it's a good friend of mine, Patina Sehorn. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great.
Thank you. Welcome to the show.
I'm excited.
Oh,
Thank
absolutely. You know, this is a book that you've already got out there, and it's called The AnswerKeys, and it's a collaboration that you did with 3 other ladies to help teachers prepare their students with.
Well, it was parents actually. It's a parenting book where we just kind of all that good kind of cool stuff, like how teachers get 25 kindergartners in a line going down the hall all smiling, and it's hard to get their shoes on them and in the van. So that's kind of how the book kind of started. It was just turned out to be really great, and we just kind of kept rolling with it, and I did a lot of the character development chapters, and then we did Staying Sane, and it was a fun project.
There's got to be a special gene with these teachers that are able to, you know, handle 25 kids at one time. I just admire the teachers that are able to do that, because I know sometimes just with 1 or 2 kiddos, it can be challenging.
Yeah.
You know, and so this book, if you're interested in it,
Yeah.
they can find it on Amazon.
Yeah. You can.
Absolutely.
You can find it on Amazon.
So AnswerKeys, friends. So dial it in, click. And we want to say thank y'all for joining us. And if you would, please be so kind to hit that share button down there right at the bottom. Hit share right now and let all your friends know that the Y Experience is back on with Patina. Also, hit some likes, hit some loves, and drop some comments down at the bottom, because we're going to have a little bit of time at the end to where we can answer some comments. So please pop on. Casey, thank you so much for popping on with us right now. We appreciate the like. So, Patina, tell us, where are you from? Are you from the Houston area?
I am not. I am a Louisiana girl. So I love boudin and, gumbo.
Crawfish?
Yeah. Oh, eat my body weight.
Oh,
yes,
my goodness.
Yes.
We love our friends to the east.
Yes.
You know, in Louisiana. Y'all are such a good partner here in the South, you know, and holding it down, and y'all bring fantastic culture over to Texas. Probably some of our bestest of all friends are from Louisiana. Wouldn't you say, honey?
I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love fun. That is probably my favorite thing next to Jesus. I love me some fun. So, yes. Yeah.
That's great. All right. So,
but I've been in Houston forever. Probably since I graduated from college, and I moved here with my college sweetheart. John Henry.
Where'd you go to college?
Northwestern in Louisiana.
Northwestern
My father
Louisiana.
was head of the art department, and so I went for free. That was a really good price.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you got married and y'all moved to Texas, or you
yes,
moved to
he
Texas
was
and got
from
married?
Memorial area here, and we knew that the job opportunities would be big and awesome, and like Texas.
Yeah.
So from school, we moved to Houston, and so I have been in the Houston area ever since I was 24.
Well, we are so blessed to have you as part of our community, you know, because of what you have done, you know, writing cool books like this that really can impact, you know, our children, because you have a passion for kiddos. You know,
Oh, I
and,
do.
and them going out to be productive adults that then can, pay it forward.
Right.
And so we're going to get into that. So what got you thinking about being an author? I mean, what has motivated you to become an author?
I did not think of that at all. So that just kind of came to me. I guess if I had to say where all this kind of began was being a very young mother of a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old, and just so in love with my life and my husband. And we were both 28. Everything was big and new and exciting. And one day I went to the mall and I came back because we were going on a trip, and my 28-year-old husband, super fit, had died of a heart attack. So it was that same kind of heart attack where you hear where athletes just drop dead.
Oh my.
So I lost everything at that moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I never even got to spend the night again in the house we had lived in together.
Yes.
Car, home, best friend, lover, father, everything gone. So I, wanted to die. That wasn't an option.
No.
My children were watching. We had planned for them to be great. We had planned for them to love Jesus. And, I just had to make that happen. So I was kind of, I was a single parent for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was some tough 9 years, because 2 weeks after he passed away, I went straight back to school because I needed to have the exact same hours they had. So wherever they were in preschool, I taught preschool. When they were in elementary school, I taught elementary. So I went, back to school, obtained that second degree, which was elementary education, and just was terrified that something was going to get past me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a
something-
parenting I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
But I was like guerrilla parenting, like guerrilla marketing. And so a lot of that stuff really did bear some cool fruit.
And what do you mean by something was going to get past you? Like, what do you define that?
I was so scared, like that a misbehavior or a character flaw or a injury or something unsafe was going to happen, and I didn't have my husband that I love so as my partner that was going to catch that too.
Right,
I think when you're parenting as a couple, you get to take a breath occasionally.
You kind of can share some of that.
But I zero share 24/7, 7 days a week, always just me. So I was nervous that a behavior or a character flaw was going to get past me, and I didn't notice that.
As being having my wife, I'm terrified, and I'm sure a lot of our audience sometimes are terrified that something's going to get by.
Right.
And you're going to miss something because we want to. Not necessarily. Well, you call it guerrilla parenting or maybe helicopter parenting.
No, I wouldn't say the same. I don't think mine was really more guerrilla.
Yeah,
it was like crazy. Like as in, but I do promote a lot that came out of that. Parenting out of fear is not a good thing. I don't recommend that at all. But when you're really young and you have a 5-month-old, you're gonna be parent and a 2-year-old parenting out of fear. Some of that. But that I got better with God's grace. But it was a tough time. But like I said, a lot of really cool fruit. Was
and you had a good support group here, is that right? Or were
my family was in Louisiana,
yeah,
and some of John's family was still in Houston. A lot of them were up north, but I really did. They were mine, and I really knew how John and I wanted them to eventually. The adults we eventually wanted them to become.
Right.
So I really, and then so really everything that I do is based upon making those loving, strong connections, leaving it all out on the field, like Roger Patterson says.
Yeah.
Like that really was a beautiful thing. So there were a lot of conversations, disguised as, or lectures disguised as conversations, probably. A lot of just like being really using all your senses to connect with your child, like watching them like you would watch a crazy spotted bird in the Amazon. Like you're really like seeing what makes them tick.
Right.
And because as humans, our greatest desire is to communicate. And we all want to be heard, and we all want to be loved for just exactly who we are.
Right.
So kind of however many children you have, I had 3. They're 3 completely different cuckoo birds or children. And
but you're always
that connection.
But you're trying to give them, some foundation of,
Absolutely.
of something to stand on, to
Right.
give them some confidence, because sure enough, as a child myself, my parents, and I share this story with all my friends, and that my parents were always saying, Jay, go that way, and for some reason I always felt like I needed to go that way. I don't know. I was always challenged, and because of some foundation, or a lot of foundation that my parents provided me with, whenever I stumbled, I had an idea of how to go
That's
forward.
Right. That's right. And that's kind of the whole premise of the book, is how you start, and you love this little baby. And so you start with writing a love letter to this child, and you talk about your spouse and the things that drew you to them,
Right.
and their character and what you would like to see imparted upon them. And then you decide what's important to your family.
Right.
Maybe it's not that your child knows 3 languages by the time they're 5. That's maybe not it. So you need to know what really matters, and I wanted to turn out good mothers and friends and partners and wives and husbands and hard workers and people that stood for things, because if you don't stand for something, you will fall for absolutely anything.
Right. And so you have this new book that you're working on, and that's getting ready to be published, called The Exit Exam.
Yes.
And this is something that you put together with your son, as he was not put together with him, but it was something that
tortured him with.
Yeah, it was an idea that you came upon because you were anxious
Yes.
about him going off to college. Is
Yes.
this where this kind of...
Yeah, he was a totally just like everybody else's child, totally normal, 17-year-old boy
trying to figure it out.
And so
and he's probably full of his own personal anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting ready to leave the roost
and excited
under the protection of his parents, but has no clue what reality is, to try to put it together yourself. I mean, I remember in my case, I was ready to get out.
Yes.
I was so ready to get out of my parents' house, because they had taught me everything I needed to know. I was for sure of, until I got out there, and I'm like, holy cow, this is a lot harder than what I anticipated. And so
Right.
you were trying to prepare him
Right.
For what he was getting ready to undergo, and you started by writing him a love letter.
Right. I wrote him a love letter, and I was very specific as to what my job was as his mother. I let him know. And then I let him know how proud I was, and all the cool things that were unique about him, and how I was going to see, I was so excited to see him succeed. And then it started with before the love letter, sheer panic the summer before he left, because I think, like most parents, we're preparing them for the test. Oh my gosh, the ACT, SAT, we're going to put $1,000 extra in there to get 2 more points, and we're going to do anything. But it's kind of a hyper focus on that ACT, SAT, that you can kind of lose sight of the fact that probably the biggest decisions you ever made were from like 17, 18 to 24. I mean, are the most kind of threatening decisions for your
something
future.
That could actually alter
your life forever. Sex, drugs, alcohol, who you partner up with, all those things. But those 2 extra points on the SAT test really aren't going to help you much for that.
No.
And those scary decisions that we make during that time, they weren't, these life-changing decisions weren't really academics.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very easy to spend your time because it's safe. It's safe. It's not having the hard conversations. It's not having to connect with a teen that's snarky and kind of outgrown you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's scary.
Right.
Where, getting them in a good school, getting them in their dorm, making sure they still like you a little, like that's kind of easy. So we kind of falter to that. I feel like we're all guilty.
Right.
I think of that.
And so this exit exam, the book,
Yes.
the exit exam, it kind of gives some guidance for parents on how to maybe approach your kids.
Yes.
And a love letter. I love how you put that. And how to present it in a
Right.
compassionate way,
Right.
to where maybe they will
receive it. Well,
receive
mine was
it
really
correctly.
just kind of a crazy, silly, kind of panicked way. It was right before he left. I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to remember all the things that I have taught him since I saw his big ears,
Right.
as a tiny baby? Will he really remember to look both ways before? Or is he just like 5 minutes after he leaves my home, he's going to get hit by a truck?
Right.
Like, does he really remember that? All the way to things about sex and girls and church and faith and how we, so there were just all
mission.
these things. Right. And so I just said, how I'm a teacher, how do we assess knowledge? How do we assess knowledge? So I went back to exactly what I'm kind of talking about, ACT, I guess that was on my brain. So I was like, all right, I'm just popping open my laptop. I'm going to crank out a quiz. Everything that I ever want him to, everything that I've taught him since he was a baby about girls, putting it down. So first topic was girls.
Yeah.
Second topic was faith. Everything, that we had talked about was faith. Everything about, then the next topic was character development, and then emotional, physical safety. I had a whole section in that, and then I ended with fun, all the things that I need him to know about fun. And then I actually had a section that said things to consider. What was it? Things that are I believe are really important, but you should maybe consider. It's just some kind of fun little crazy things at the end. But I just cranked it out. I mean, probably 20 minutes. I had 60 or 70 questions that I had cranked out. All the things that I was worried about. And so I was I tried to make it a little humorous and things like that. But I told him, I was like, if you do not get a 98.5 on this, fill in the blank. I go, none of this baloney, multiple choice business, but it's going to be fill in the blank.
Right.
And if you don't get a 98.5 on this this exit exam, then you're going to be in remediation for the summer, and I'm going to get you ready to go. And he's like, you're crazy. And I was like, that's right. I'm your mother and I can be. And, so he actually took that test.
I read through some of these
funny.
questions of this test, and some of them are kind of common sense, but might, go past you because you get so tunnel vision on, like you said, passing test, or where am I going to stay, or how am I going to get from A to B? And really, it depends. There's some things that are must reminders. Don't forget the basics.
Right.
Like like one of them, dating.
Yeah.
I mean, dating it's so important.
Yeah.
Because really you're trying to figure out who you are, and what is your cardinal point, and what really, really matters. Like, who am I, and what has my family tried to instill in me, and I mean, I'm going to run through a couple of these questions that I love. It's like, if you ask somebody out, guess what? You're paying for it.
That's right.
It's
right.
It's not you
I want a
asking, oh, by the
gentleman.
way, we go Dutch.
You ask, you pay.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great rule. The only person that goes Dutch is your sister.
That's right.
I love that. And then, all right, if there are more bad days than good, then maybe she's not the right one. If I mean, that's a great rule, something to consider. Like, if it isn't rolling right to start out with, then maybe it's not right. My grandmother, and I always share this story with Hope, or we always laugh about it. And I was like, Grandma, I met this really great girl. She's beautiful. Her name is Hope. Esperanza. And I was like, yes, it's Esperanza. And I was like, I want to take her out on a date, but I don't know what to do. She's like, mijo, take her bowling. If y'all have a great time, she's the one.
Aw, that's pretty good advice.
That's
I'm
what we
telling you.
did.
It's
We-
about fun and
Yeah,
connection.
and it wasn't about investing a tremendous amount of funds. It was about investing in time in each other and getting to know each other.
Yeah, and if real men, I want him to know real men have skills to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
Don't just be in a relationship forever because you're scared of conflict.
Conflict is what builds character. Absolutely. If there's
right.
I don't know, if there's no friction, there's no fire, like the right kind of fire.
Right, right.
So I love this one. And for some reason, it's just been tossed in the back. Open the car door for your lady.
That's right.
I mean, what's wrong with that? I grew up, my dad would look at me if I didn't open the door.
And there's things, and it's not like there are things that I taught Murphy, my daughter, and I teach Whitley to do for a guy that you really like, that's kind and respectful and lifts them up. So it's not a one-sided thing. In their test, we talked about make him cookies. Do kind and treat him with equal amount of respect. I mean, I taught John Henry, the expectation you have for your girl is the same one you better have for yourself.
Right. Right. I mean, it's that some of these things are just common sense, but they slip past us. Because when
you're 17 and think you're bulletproof, then
you think you know everything, but you might forget the details that really are foundations for success.
Right.
Stepping stones for success. Now, you also cover health.
Yes.
Health is a big one, and you got one in here that I never was taught, but I'm gonna use it in the future. Vegetables are not something that I super gravitate towards. I'm more of a meat guy,
right?
And one is that the less legs, the healthier.
The less legs, the better.
Yeah.
That's right. Like chicken's better than a cow. A fish is better than a chicken. Just like I was teasing. But yes, the less legs, the better for heart health, generally speaking.
That is such an easy one to remember. I've never put the two together, but you're absolutely right. Let's see, make cardio a part of every day. Like go run and go ride a bike. I mean, keep it as part of your daily routine.
Find a lifetime sport and learn to love it.
Yeah, easy. The big one for me and my family is faith.
Yes.
I mean, faith is
everything.
And I've shared with my audience in the past, if you cannot handle life on your own. No. Whenever you have challenges, lay it at the feet of our Lord, our Heavenly Father, and it's been probably the best lesson that my parents ever taught me.
Yes.
Is having faith. In our Heavenly Father, and I'm so excited to hear that you've added it, or it's going to be in the exit.
Yeah,
exam.
It was in his exit. It was probably our biggest section, in the test. And I talked about, pray daily and more when necessary. And your faith and your education are probably the two only things that can't be stripped from you.
Right. Right. Friends, I want to make sure that you are sharing. Hit that share button down below. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some likes. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. In faith, we're talking about faith in the new book that Patina is putting out called The Exit Exam, and something that parents can use, something that they can read and use as a tool, a simple tool to help their kiddos, help parents, make sure that there's some of these things that are reviewed,
right?
To help these kids get out, because it's an anxiety trying to let them kids out.
It is, but you have to start when they're it's definitely suggested to start when they're babies, and to talk to your spouse and decide what's that GPS address that you want to dump them out at when they're 18.
Rerouting.
Right. And so if you know that, then it's just like it's like rerouting.
Yeah.
You'll get back on that path. If you don't, you tend to like I tended to, it's very easy to just follow the herd.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to be in ballet 3 times a week. Oh, now we need to be over here. Oh, now really, what's important to your family? And then that's what their GPS address is. Where are you trying to go at the end of the day?
I mean, there's so much opportunity to get distracted
Yes.
when in university or in college, that you can lose sight of these three things. And we're getting ready to get into the last one that you have in here. But, well, actually there's four things: emotional, physical safety, there's manners, there's health, there's faith.
Right.
And
There's even crazy things like even if you don't feel prepared, go take the test.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recover from a 50 but you can't recover from a 0.
Yeah.
Just things like that. Or, get in that study group with the smart kids. If you have to bring cookies or you have to bring the jokes, do what you have to do.
Right.
Or, just crazy simple things to things that just meant the entire world to me. Never miss class or church. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
John Henry.
Yeah.
Try to do those things.
Right.
Never miss class, never miss church. Your dad, John, did not miss class or church.
Yeah. Right.
And he had a good time. But those two things were a priority.
These are not necessarily downers in the sense of like trying to, to like reduce the excitement that, getting out on your own for the first time, or, trying to,
Yeah, I think my last one to him was always have fun.
Yeah.
Make fun happen.
Yeah. Well, we got education in here, and, go talk to your professors. If they know, then they will be more willing to help you.
Absolutely. If they know you.
If they know you, and if they know that you might be challenged with something, then
Right.
If you don't ask, the answer is no.
Right.
Right. Or I don't know, or you'll never know. And discover what you love, and then find a way to make a good living at it.
That's
like
right.
Find out what excites you. Maybe don't go down that path that is necessarily, if you don't want to be a doctor, don't be a doctor.
No.
But if you have a passion for helping and healing and, trying to bring some comfort to people's life, then go be a doctor.
Right.
Find
your passion. We're all uniquely designed by God with unique gifts.
Yeah.
And things to bring to the world. I said, put some feet on your faith. And, that's something that you have to do from the time they're tiny.
Right.
Is find out their gifts and use them, in the world.
Right. Absolutely. Friends, we got a bunch of people watching us live right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, please drop some comments down below. We're going to try to get to them here in the next... Well, we're going to get to them right now. We only got 28 minutes left.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad, right?
Oh,
Were you nervous?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
She did a great job, didn't she? Give her some love down at the bottom. We greatly appreciate Patina coming on. But you were so nervous. I told you the time was going to fly in a heartbeat, and it certainly did. And
it does.
I think our listeners are going to be so impactful with the exit exam book that's going to be coming out here real soon. And if you want to find out or have any questions, please, down in this description, we have Patina's Facebook page that they can go on to and they can like.
Yeah.
And then also on Instagram, she's going to get her whole Instagram up and running. But on LinkedIn, if you do business to business, if you have questions about this book, please drop some comments down below. Get in touch with her, and she'd be more than happy to provide you with the link to and information of when this book's going to be coming out.
Right. And I enjoy sharing. I speak. I did many years of speaking to moms groups and schools and churches, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And but it's all about connection and
Right.
connecting to your child. And it's so interesting to me. They did more than 600 studies on self-esteem because, that can break you.
Right.
And so what they found was the number one factor in whether or not you're going to have kind of dabble in drugs or drop out of college or all these big pitfalls that we're scared of was parent-child connection. If a child felt, connected to their parent, and if you think about that logically, we all know people that dropped out of college.
Right.
And what was the thing? Their parents didn't even know till the end of the year.
Right.
So right there tells you that they kind of lost that connection. And when you lose that connection, then that's where things can kind of go in the ditch at times.
I'll tell you what, my parents knew. They were like, "What are you doing?"
That's right. Had that phone call.
All right, let's take a look, see if we got some questions. Mike, would you dial up some questions? Thank you, everybody, for participating. Great to see the Y experience back. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you engaging. Hey, JJ. Sharon. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Reminds me of how they made Biggest Little Farm work. Find solutions by observation. And absolutely, you're looking at the environment and you're observing to find solutions,
Right.
And that sounds exactly like what you've done with your kids, but also, you're working with children on a daily basis.
Right.
And so you're really taking a look from a 40,000 foot view and, making some really good observations on what is.
It's so exciting. It's just it's so exciting. And with little ones, they call it serve and return. And that is how you, like when a baby, even before they talk, where their eyes go, and you can, where they twinkle or where they point, then you bring them closer to it and you say, oh, this is a red book with a kitty on it.
Right.
Isn't this exciting? And then you talk about it and you get excited about it. And that is the number one way they have found to grow babies' brains, is wherever they light up, wherever they turn, wherever there's excitement and they point, you track that, and then you bring it to them. You answer their questions. You tell them everything about it, because and that's before they are even have words.
Right.
So it's the that connection and that value that you get from your parents and people that love you, is what makes you grow. And also, I did add in his album. So I had the love letter, and then I had this crazy test, and luckily he passed it for both of us. And then I also had everyone that, and on both sides of the family, that they know him, they love him, and people that he admired. Even a few people from church wrote letters to him saying, commissioning him out into the world, and telling him kind of things that they wish they would have known.
Right.
So giving their best kind of cool advice. And so those letters are in this. So he has a whole album, starting with a love letter, ending with all the letters from the family, with a test in between.
That he can reflect back on.
Yeah, and do for his
That's wonderful.
little John Henry.
Friends, we appreciate y'all joining the show today. And all these questions down below, Patina, she's going to be answering them. And thank you for joining us. And, I want to encourage everyone to seek out their why. In every experience they create, ask yourself, why am I doing what I do? And what is the effect that is having on me and potentially others? In addition to that, ask, is it a positive return or is it not? I hope in everything we do, it is for the better. Patina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's wonderful. All right, friends. Y'all have a great week.